Stop signing up for random technical certifications before you create and, more importantly, execute your own roadmap to pivot into tech consulting. In part one, I talked about the skill audit that you need to do. In part two, I talked about the different roles that are in tech consulting and roles that you probably never even knew about. And in this video, part three, I'm going to walk you through the steps that you get to do in order to create your own roadmap to pivot into tech. In this video, I'm breaking down your full 6 to 12 month roadmap into tech consulting before you even invest in one technical certification. As you can see from my background, I'm in a different space. I have been thinking about this video for hours, and really I'm going to say days, and I had to get it out before I decided to do anything else, before I decided to go anywhere else at this particular location. Because the thing is this: if you are an administrative assistant, an executive assistant like I was, like I said, I have a special place in my heart for executive assistants because I was one. Even an office administrator and office manager wanting to pivot into tech, this is your first step. Your first step is not a course. Your first step is actually doing an audit. And when I talk about an audit, it's really walking you through the scenario and having you understand what I did. So in the previous video, I talked about how I made the transition from being an executive assistant to joining Oracle as a senior consultant. And if you recall, my mentor, Leon, had given me a job description of what a senior consultant was. At this particular point, I'm already hired in Oracle. I had already done, the mapping when I was still an administrative assistant, and he had me look at that job description because, again, I was administrative assistant, executive assistant. He supported me in understanding the skills that I had as an assistant and what I needed to do to be prepared in this role, not only for the interview with John Lee, but also moving forward. These are the skills that you have, Tammy, that can pivot into tech consulting. Once I got hired as a senior consultant, I then went back to not only that job description, but other job descriptions because I wanted to drill down. I wanted to be great at one or two things in the role that, because the senior consultant was so vast, I knew I wanted to focus and become a master in one specific area, two specific areas on system implementations. So I took that job description Leon had given me, my mentor. I also looked at other senior consultant job descriptions and said, okay, of the skills and the strengths that I have as a communicator, as a coordinator, supporting other individuals, knowing how to ask the right questions and knowing how to facilitate getting information out of individuals, I decided to focus on being the best business analyst and also requirements analyst. So responsible for going into different sessions. And I talk about this in a previous video, but elements of that job description coupled with my skills, and I said, this is what I'm going to niche down on. Being a senior consultant, I'm going to focus on one specific aspect of these business transformation projects because I know that these are the things that I can do based on my experience as an administrative assistant. So the first step that you're going to do, and this step is going to happen in month 1 and 2, is you are going to audit and reframe. So what I want you to do is I want you to grab a notebook. I know I don't even have a notebook. I Post-it. So maybe this way or this way, but just pretend that this is a notebook and you're going to have 3 columns. The first column that you are going to do is task. The second column is skills used, and then consulting value. So for example, in that first column, task, all the tasks. First task, schedule a 10-person off-site meeting. In the skills used column, you're going to write down the skills that you used in order to schedule that 10-person off-site meeting, which is logistics, vendor negotiation, and also budget tracking. In that third column, which is the consulting value column, you're then going to write down project coordination and cost optimization. So you're going to do this for 2 weeks of your work history. So when you're in your current role, right? You're in your current role right now as an executive assistant, administrative assistant. You're going to map out, what have I been doing for the past 2 weeks? What task have I been doing? What skills have I used? And map those to consulting value. You get to realize that you already have problem solving skills, $10,000 problem solving skills, just without the consulting title. So month 1 to 2, so for the first 2 months of your 6 to 12 month roadmap, and I'm just going to make this a 12-month roadmap. In the first 2 months of your 12-month roadmap, you're going to audit and reframe your skills. In months 3 and 4 of you creating and executing your roadmap, you're going to do role discovery and gap mapping. So step 2 is really defining the target. So once you have done your audit of your skills, you're then going to go and research 2 to 3 roles. So some roles that you might want to really take a look at: project coordinator, business analyst, change management consultant, CRM consultant, also communication specialist. Those are the roles that I talked about in part 2. Whatever role is going to get you excited, whatever role that you can literally envision yourself doing. Now you're going to look at those job descriptions of that roles. You're going to look at the skills required for that role or those roles. And really, I want you just to focus on maybe just, again, 2 or 3. Once you look at the job descriptions of those roles, I want you then to, and also the skills, I want you then to circle the skills that you don't have. This is going to be your learning list. So no more random tech certifications, no more random course shopping. You now are laser focused in your gap list. So that's months 3 and 4, role discovery and gap mapping. Now we're in months 5 and 6. In months 5 and 6, what I want you to focus on now is targeted learning. You're going to pick one low-cost course or maybe a free YouTube playlist, because now you're going to learn what your skill gaps are. Now's the time to be an avid learner, and you're going to absorb as much information. So for example, if data scares you, let's say you want to be a business analyst, but you're terrified of data, even though you know you can do it, now is the time to do a 20-hour Excel to dashboard mini course. Or if agile, meaning you being an agile consultant, was one of your roles on your list, and if that makes you nervous, then you're going to binge watch 10 Scrum videos. You're also going to maybe look at a Trello board, or how to create a Trello board, which is a tool that Scrum Masters tend to use, and you're going to start to practice those skills. Now, the cost of this should no more be $50 in a weekend. You want to make sure that you are now absorbing information. You are now learning information that is attached to your skill gap. So it could be, again, a weekend Excel course. It could be a HubSpot CRM course. It could be 10 agile videos. And you can go to Google. I'll have some recommendations in the description of some places that you can go to. If you are the person that you need more structure and accountability, then I am going to ask you if you are a person who needs more accountability and structure, then now might be a great time for you to join the Relate Lab. It's my private community of aspiring consultants where we're going to have monthly group coaching. We're going to have Q&A sessions. You are going to have information at your fingertips, such as templates and other additional courses. Once you get into consulting, It's bite-sized learning paths. I love the fact that you also are going to be able to have accountability partners. So when you come into the Relate Lab, we're going to do an exercise where you're going to be mapped with an accountability partner that will support you in addition to me and others I'm going to have join the community, other experts in this field. Really, your accountability partner as well is really going to support you in finishing and executing your 12-month roadmap. If you want more information about the Relate Lab, I'll put the link in the description box. Doors are going to open this September, but what I'm in the process of doing is forming a community now. It's a free of cost community. I hope to roll it out in the next 4 weeks. So please be sure to follow me and subscribe so that you will immediately, and I'm going to say also join my email list, the Messy Mind newsletter, because you're going to get more information once that community has been created, and that's going to be about in the next 4 weeks. Now you are in month 7 to 9, and in this particular time frame of your 12-month roadmap, you're going to be creating mini projects and gathering that proof in order to create your case studies. So you can volunteer. You work right now for someone. Okay, you can volunteer for an internal system project. You can go out, if you're not working, reach out to nonprofits and help them streamline their operations, or even put offer for help or offer to support someone on Upwork. You want to make sure that as you're going through and doing your mini project that you're documenting before and after metrics, because this again is going to be your first study, your first case study. So like I said, volunteer for a system upgrade at work, freelance on Upwork, optimize a nonprofit process flow. You definitely want to make sure that, again, as you're documenting your before and after metrics, that just basically means that what was the baseline? How did you save them money? How did you support them with transforming? Because this is your client ready story. So again, month 7 through 9, you're working on your mini projects and you're documenting the proof of your results of those mini projects that you're going to transfer them into client case studies. Nearing the home stretch, we are on the last 2 months of your 12-month long roadmap, and this is months 10 to 12, and this is where you're going to brand and apply. And this basically means that you're going to set up your brand, you're going to network like crazy, and now you're ready to apply to jobs. So I plan to do another video. This will be video number 5. Anyway, the next video that I plan on doing is going to be supporting you with not only enhancing or creating your LinkedIn profile, but also making sure that you update your LinkedIn headline. So now you're an operations strategist to tech consultant. You're going to put a couple of words that is focusing on your niche. So in that particular situation, administrative assistant, now operations strategist to tech consultant. And then these are the 2 things. So maybe process and project management excellence. You're going to post 1 win from your project every week or even every 2 weeks with that social proof. And then the goal in these next 2 months, so months 10 to 12, is really 25 targeted applications. You want to make sure that you are networking on LinkedIn. That's where decision makers are. That's where, your roles are. That's where, again, you're going to network. You're going to set up at least 10 coffee chats. In addition, you also want to make sure that you have at least 3 interviews during this time. So 10 to 12 months, 25 targeted applications. We're just not going to focus on applying to anything, just to volume. They are to be quality. And again, if you're in our community, if you have joined the Relate Lab, then that is going to be some of the subjects that I'm going to talk about. What's a quality application? What's one application or your 25? Again, goal that I should be applying to. You're going to set up and talk to 10, have 10 quote unquote coffee chats with individuals that can be virtual or in person. Do both. Do 5 virtual, do 5 in live. And then also you want to make sure that you have your goal is to get 3 interviews during these months of 10 to 12. That's it. That is your 12-month, your year-long blueprint for making the pivot from executive assistant or making the pivot into tech consulting before you swipe your credit card for any tech certification. So audit, gap, learn, prove, brand. Those are the 5 elements of your 12-month program. Now, for your roadmap, specifically for you. Again, I'm going to ask you to follow me because in the next video, part 4, I'm going to support you in learning how you can make over your LinkedIn profile. I really appreciate you watching this video. If there's any questions that you have, please put them in the comments below, and let's crush not only creating but executing your Pivot into Tech 12-month roadmap.